I'm ready to quit my job and I want to do this. I think I had probably $250,000 in business funding. I have platinum American Expresses with no limits, gold American Express, no limits. I could buy $1 million, swipe it in $1 million. Whatever you do, if you have a business, you should get business credit.
Yeah.
Noel. Yeah, she can fix that. If you gotta get it done, no, you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
Yeah, so my dad is a really important part of my business. Like, as I mentioned, he's my business partner. And I find that to be a really, really awesome thing. So my dad is an engineer by trade.
Oh.
He actually was
Civil, mechanical,
chemical engineer. Chemical
okay.
engineer. And in fact, he was a chemist when I was little. And this was so when I was younger, my dad didn't have a college degree. He was, started going to get his associates. He graduated with his associates when I was like maybe 5 or 6. And then he went and he got his bachelor's in chemistry. And he, again, always working and going to school. That was always what I witnessed as a child. My dad working full-time, my dad going to school full-time.
And not a bad example to witness.
Definitely not a bad example.
There are worse daddy examples you could have been raised with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I do. My dad is amazing and he's a super smart guy. Like I said, he was a chemist and then he went to chemical engineering and I just watched him climb. And I think that's one of the great things about me, that I had that example,
the model.
That model. Like, he was a hard worker, he was going to school, he was working, he was a family man, and he was really trying to build. And so now, fast forward to many years later, when I'm, 35 years old and I want to really do this entrepreneur thing. I'm ready to quit my job and I want to do this. And I go to my dad and I'm like, do you want to partner with me? Do you want to give me some money, essentially, for this? And he was all in. He immediately went to his 401k and took the money out and was like, you have access to this money and you just use it as you need. And it was almost like a line of credit that he gave me.
Exactly.
From his 401k. And it really did, again, that was when I started to get into the YouTube and I was able to start producing this content and get away from flipping houses and get to this thing. And it was my dad and that partnership and his belief in me that really, really helped me through it. And it was so funny because he's such you need a job. You need a job. You need a job. And he was the one, remember, when I moved into the basement, you can't even stay here unless you go back to school.
I love that. Yeah.
And then, you fast forward, 15 years later, he's the one investing in me as an entrepreneur.
Well, now he trusts you.
Right.
You've hit all the stops. You've got your multiple graduate degrees. You've proven that you can be a senior executive at an organization. You can do all those things that America's supposed to make you do.
Yeah.
But now you're going to fulfill the Jamaican dream of coming to the U.S. and being your own boss and making millions, which is so cool. Now, you talked about credit.
Yes.
Let's get into that a little bit.
Okay.
Because I know that's a big thing.
It is a big thing.
You've taught a lot of people a lot of stuff about credit.
Yeah.
You started with kind of a line of credit from your father, which is pretty cool. Is that something that you, when you're teaching your people, is that where you kind of say, maybe the first step is find someone who has money, or do you immediately jump to let's max out those credit card cash advances? I don't know that you ever jump to that. I'm just saying things, right? But
no, so it's a good point because when I started, I had terrible credit. Remember, when I decided, okay, I'm gonna be in my parents' basement and I'm gonna do some stuff, I had multiple foreclosures and a bankruptcy.
You lost your job,
lost your job. So my dad helps me by also putting my name on his credit cards. This was one of the first credit secrets that I learned, where I had this terrible credit score and my dad has good credit. He makes me an authorized user on a bunch of his credit cards, and that's when I started rebuilding my credit.
So that will rebuild your own consumer credit.
Correct. Your own consumer
your
credit.
Your own score.
Right. Your own personal credit score.
So even though you're not the account holder, you're an authorized user.
Right. So, and when I tell you this was mind-blowing, because all of a sudden you have these trade lines. Think about it. If I'm 20 years old and my dad's 50, all right, and he has credit cards from 10 years ago, and they report on my credit report. How powerful that is, because he had good credit. He always paid. And the credit, it just reports as a trade line. It tells you when it opened. It has the number of, and all of that information just floods onto the report.
You get that?
Yes.
By being an
authorized user. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, mine, and it still works to this day.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Did you learn that from someone, from your mentor, from someone else?
Yes, I learned that from my mentor, the real estate person I told you I'm canceling classes. He's telling me like, okay, this is what you have to do real estate wise to invest with bad credit and no money. However, let's fix your credit because you're going to, in order to flip houses and really become this real estate millionaire, you can't keep bad credit.
Right.
So it's like I had those two things going at the same time. He's like, find someone with good credit, get added as an authorized user. He gives me a few accounts, go apply for these. They'll give you credit with bad credit. He's helping me. This is the same thing that I just teach to people. I paid someone, they taught it to me, I did it, and now I teach it to other people.
So, okay, well, let's talk a little bit more about that just for a second. Because I know there's obviously a big delineation between personal credit and business.
Right.
And that's where you really started to go.
Correct. And that is where the floodgates opened up. So with personal credit, yes, you want to fix your personal credit. You do not want to be an entrepreneur with bad credit. You're going to fix your credit. And again, I give all those hacks, and that was one of them, the authorized user, really building up my personal credit score. So then a few years later, someone introduces me to business credit. And they're like, why are you using your personal credit cards to run those Facebook ads? Or metaverse
Right.
now, you know what I mean? At the time, it was Facebook. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you got to get these business credit. And they're showing me American Express business cards and Capital One business cards. And so I'm like, okay, I got to learn this. And I did. Of course, I paid for a class. I paid for, these people to teach me about business credit. And in a year of working on my business credit, I think I had probably $250,000 in business funding in 1 year.
And did you use it?
And yes, and to this day, and I literally, it's so funny, I could bring it out. I have a folio. I probably have 40 credit cards now. I have platinum American Expresses with no limits, gold American Express, no limits. I could buy $1 million, swipe it in $1 million. Business.
Have you ever been tempted to do that? Just kidding.
No, because then you got to pay it back.
Yeah, well, the business has
Exactly,
to.
the business does. So business credit, why I'm saying it's so powerful for the business owner and why I feel like this is what I scream from the mountaintops is because I was so late to the game. I fixed my personal credit, then I used my personal credit in my business before I ever started to build business credit. And now I have students that I teach, and they'll start building their business credit the moment they get their LLC. So a year, 2 years in, they've already caught up to me who's had a business for 8-9 years.
Do you continue to carry credit lines?
I do.
For your business?
I do. For my business.
You kind of have to, right? You don't want to use your own cash.
I don't even use my own cash or credit anymore. The great thing about business credit, what I tell people too, is you really don't have to use your own personal credit anymore. So if I have a Discover card in my own name, why would I be using that if I could just use my business American Express? Even if it's for a personal thing, I could just pay it with my personal funds. There's never any reason to use your personal credit in that way because your credit score is fluctuating up and down as you use your credit cards, and you don't have that situation once you have business credit established.
Yeah. So have you put together in your courses, in your teachings?
Yeah.
I mean, are they compartmentalized into different real estate, credit, or is it all just holistic? Is it kind of
It's funny. So I have a course where it's kind of all integrated because to me, it's the whole process. I don't want you to just get real estate without building a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't want you to build a business without building business credit. So it is a separate module teaching you that thing, but at the same time, it's all a part of, depending on the course or the program that you go with, where usually I want to teach you all of it. And almost every single course or thing that I have, I want to teach you business credit because if you have a Toro business, you should get business credit. If you're a photographer, if you're a videographer, whatever you do, if you have a business, you should get business credit.
Yeah. For tax purposes.
Correct.
If nothing else.
Great write-offs.
Yeah.
It's so many, the liability against yourself. I mean, just so many reasons why you would want to do that. And just think about it. A business can file bankruptcy or you can file bankruptcy.
Take your pick. Yeah. Yeah, which one?
Which would you rather? So I felt like business credit helped me accomplish that goal where I said, I'll never be bankrupt again. Now, my business, I don't know what the future may hold. They're doing really fine now. Yeah. But, if 10, 20 years from now something happens, then my business may have to file bankruptcy, but I won't.
Yeah.
Wow, that was an amazing episode. If you want my new book, you can get it absolutely free at noelsfreebook.com. Get my new book, Real Estate Millionaire Secrets, absolutely free. You just cover the shipping and handling. Go to noelsfreebook.com. That's NOELLE with an S, 𝗏𝑒𝑙𝑠freebook.com. I have poured my heart into this book, and I am teaching you all about real estate, how I started with bankruptcy, bad credit, no money, and how you can do the exact same thing too. Check out my new book because I want to make sure that you have all of the resources, all of the tools, and all of the knowledge that you need to be successful. This is Noelle, to your success. Exactly. So I was taught it by those people, and that's what I do as well. I literally know people that make money, $1 million a year, selling rocks.
Pet freaking rocks was a huge fad.
I never want to hear anyone tell me that they cannot make money with their business.